It's like a
Yes,
mini reunion from Wilmington to now we're like in Winston. So this is like,
yes. Adults
uh,
and everything. We were on the court. We were like what, 13, 14. So for sure.
yes. But hey, y'all, hey, it's another episode of Bonafide Her Podcast featuring the one and only Tiana Edwards.
What's up, y'all?
Let me correct the title. It is Dr. Tiana Edwards with this.
Thank
So,
you. I appreciate that.
how you doing today?
I'm good. I can't complain. How are you?
Girl, you know we blessed to be alive. Another day, another blessing, another dollar. So, hello.
100%. 100%.
Yes. So let's get to it. Tiana, can you tell us your sports story to how you got to where you are?
Oof. Okay. Well, I started playing basketball at a young age. Like I'm originally from New York, so was hooping at a young age, like five-ish. Like just always had a ball in my hand. Me and my dad used to bond over watching the Knicks. So I'm a lifelong Knicks fan. So of course we won this year. So it was a big deal for me. But then we moved down to Wilmington, North Carolina. Ended up choosing to go to Laney. And being from Wilmington, like I really grew up around the corner from where Jordan used to live. So it was always like a fun little, okay, like going to Michael Jordan's high school. Um, in terms of my journey, I wouldn't say I was super highly recruited coming out of high school. I was on a team where we were pretty well rounded, pretty stacked. And I think like none of us had like insane averages. Like we were a pretty even kill team. Like everybody averaged between like 12 to 13 points, 10 to 13 points or so. Um I think, me being the first kid in the family that wanted to play competitive sports, like we had learned some things like AAU, like playing at a competitive circuit. Knowing the difference between playing in your local town versus going on a high circuit to like, the deep south and Raleigh or like, Tennessee, Memphis, Tennessee. I can't remember all the names of the tournaments, but the big ones. And so my issue kind of came in where I entered the circuit going into my senior year. So I didn't really go. I think going into my junior year, my offer started going into my senior year. So I finally hit the circuit. A lot of schools asked, like I would say, like lower to mid Division 1 schools, like Radford, um, Middle Tennessee State, East Tennessee State, schools like that were starting to knock on my door. ECU, but the issue was that for that recruiting class, they had already pretty much had their board already and who they wanted and gave out their scholarships. So when I came around, it was like, dang, we really like you, but we don't have space for you or for your size and all that good stuff because I'm an undersized shooting guard. So they wanted to take a chance on me, but it was kind of a situation where it just didn't fit. um Eventually the ECU coach really liked me, the assistant coach, Olin Dunford, really liked me. And I'll never forget, he told me one time, and I always had like like confidence issues at the time, and he always told me like, I think you're the best shooter in North Carolina. I just think you need to shoot more, and I think more people need to see you. So once he found out, like, yeah, at that time I had no offers. He sent like a mass email out of, I don't know, it had to be 80 coaches and just sending my film out and just telling me about telling yeah, he really blessed me. But telling them like about me and everything, and sending my film out, and I think like 10 schools reached back. One of them happened to be WSSU. Coach Rudd at the time, Coach Terry now, ended up picking up that phone call, and reaching out and just staying on top of me. Other schools like Brown reached out, Davidson. I think I already had a look for Middle Tennessee State and East Tennessee State at the time. But schools like that were reaching out. Lander, I can't remember everybody. It's about 10 years. Uh, more than 10 years, shoot. But so all those schools were reaching out. And I know Brown, they said my SAT scores weren't high enough. Mind you, I had like a 1850 at the time, and I had like a 4.6 GPA, and they still were like, "Nah, we it has to be high."
What?
Yeah, like they don't do sliding scales in Ivy League apparently, but they really like me. But there was that. Eventually, like I went on a couple of visits. But what stuck out with me with Winston was Coach Terry. she was one of the only coaches to really be consistent, like coming to my games. And if you know, when you know, Winston and Wilmington is far. It's 3.5 hours. So she would
Mm-hmm.
come to the games, and after the game would walk up and shake my hand in front of everybody. If you know, college coaches don't usually do stuff like that unless they really like you. So um it kind of came down to Winston or East Tennessee State. And I remember, and I think this is important for a lot of young athletes, like go where you're appreciated. I went on my visit to Winston with the idea of I wanted to commit to East Tennessee State, but I was like, I'm still gonna go on the visit. I went on the visit, and against my will, I really liked it. Like my parents had a ball, my family had a ball. We went to the football game. It might have been homecoming. They had the fireworks, all of that. Like, my teammates were cool. The visit was cool. And I was like, dang, I like it. But like, I want to go D1. I want to go D1. At that time, like, you just,
Mm-hmm.
Um, and then my dad like sat me down. Like my parents, like, they're always gonna guide me to the right decision, but they're never gonna really tell me what to do. Um, and he was just like, do you want to be a little fish in a big pond or a big fish in a little pond? Like that was the conversation. Like, do you want to go somewhere where like the coaches told you, like by sophomore year, like you're gonna be running the team. Like these are the conversations I'm having with the head coach. And the head coach was kind of honest. Like at the time, Coach Hall, he was like, I don't really play freshmen, but I mean, if you're hooping, I'm gonna let you play. I'm gonna let you rock out. He promised me by my sophomore year, um, you'll be all your teammates are gonna be extremely tall, which he did deliver on that promise. I think we were ranked the seventh tallest team in the nation at that time. Like, and he was like, go out there and run the show. And I'll get to that point. But um and then what really sold it was a lot of people don't know. I believe Coach Terry was also a Chancellor Scholar at Winston. And a Chancellor Scholarship means that you have like a full academic ride. So mind you, like I said, I had a 4.6. I had a high SAT score. And Coach Terry like read my transcript and was like, well, we were gonna give her a scholarship for basketball, but if we put her up for this scholarship, she might be able to get a full ride and be set. So they put my name up for it, and only 12 applicants get that, and I ended up getting it. So that was like kind of like, all right, if you get injured or if the coaching like staff changes, like you'll always be okay. And both of those things did happen. So it ended up being a good decision for me. I believe East Tennessee State, that next year, their whole coaching staff left. So I ended up making a good decision. And by the first week of being at Winston, I loved my decision. It's nothing like a HBCU for real. So that's how I got to Winston. Did you want to hear about being at Winston too, or
Girl, the
okay?
floor is yours because I'm gonna still ask about like Winston for sure. So
Yeah. Um, Being at Winston, it was cool. I think my first 2 years, we were under Coach Hall, and then there was a coaching change. First year was really good. I ended up starting a lot. I don't know the specific number. I started a lot of games though. Because the people in front of me ended up getting injured, but then I like ended up doing really well. Near the end of that season, ended up getting really sick. So I really missed I missed like I missed a long time. I got like a really bad flu that took me down for a while. Couldn't really breathe. It was crazy. But that kind of slowed me down after my freshman year, and I ended up not playing enough games to be in contention for like all rookie team and all that good stuff. But my average was there at the time before I got sick. Um, and then sophomore year, um, I ended up breaking my leg that year, so that was not fun. Yeah, yeah. So remember, I told you he promised me sophomore year, like I'm gonna bring the height around you and all that good stuff, and we're gonna rock out. Um, I probably early in the season I started feeling like a pain in my shin. Not really. I'm thinking the shin splints. Kept playing. I played. I think I want to say like 5 to 8 games, basically on a broken leg because I didn't know. And they were like miniature fractures, like stress fractures, like all across down my shin. And basically it took them a long time to find it too. Like it took like 4 weeks to diagnose because it didn't pop up on an X-ray. It popped up on an MRI, but it was like tiny. And the surgeon actually caught it, and then they did like a bone scan, and that's how they eventually found it. So they were like, and because of where I broke it, I had to sit for 10 months. So that wasn't fun. It was just almost as long as basically ACL rehabilitation, honestly. So That ended that season, and I lost that year. So a lot of people don't know only played 3 years at Winston. So, um, yeah. Then my junior year came around. Like I said, 10 months had to sit, couldn't do anything. Because again, like where I broke it, there's no blood supply there, so usually those fractures don't really completely heal. Like honestly, to this day, I think it's healed, but I still feel it sometimes. And then they had to sit me though, because I don't know if you remember Kevin Ware when he got injured, like the Louisville
Yes. Oh
situation.
my gosh. Ooh.
That's what he did. He kept playing on like those miniature fractures. Like they're like, it's like basically think of a rubber band and you just keep snipping at it. And eventually one last thread, one last pull. And that's basically what happened. So they were like, you can play, but this is your potential and you're gonna have to sign a waiver. And I was like, it's cool. I'm gonna sit. So that's basically that. Yeah. But that was the first half of the career. I don't want to ramble too much, but yeah, that's what started. That's kind of where things kind of shifted for the most part. But yeah.
Girl, I remember that Kevin Ware incident. I'm like, whoo, I was like just pulling my leg. You know how people clutch their pearls, like, oh, clutch your pearl. Like I was
Yeah,
like, anytime I see like a leg or ACL, I'm like, let me just I have to clutch my knee real quickly, like,
same.
whoo,
So when they compared it to that, I was like, yeah, it's cool. I'll sit because I was like, I'm gonna play. Because I mean, in my mind, I'm like, I can do it, even though I really was hurting. But I was like, yeah, nah, it can't be him. It can't be him.
girl. I'm like, that would be like a whole nightmare. But like, I don't. It's like when am I gonna play? When am I gonna play? Like,
Yeah,
but I will say
yeah,
he ended up winning the national champion. So it's like, well, he got
yeah. They
it.
did. They did end up winning. But yeah, and then there was like I said, there was like a coaching change after that. I had to sit for 10 months. So usually like, and if you know me, like I'm always in a gym. And preparation is very important to me. And I couldn't prepare that whole season. I came into that season. My first time running was in preseason, which if you know, you know, like that's rough. I didn't make it all the times, but like you could tell like I wasn't 100% like where I needed to be. So that season was not necessarily my best season, I think, because I came into it not in the shape that I wanted to be. And the recovery process just took so long, the coaching change, all that good stuff. Yeah, going into my senior year, I think I definitely was a little bit down about my performance from my junior year. And I remember having a conversation with one of my old trainers, and he was just like, I mean, despite you having a little bit of a down year, like he was looking at like my averages and like he was letting me know, like, you could break the all-time record for three-pointers there. And I was like, really? Like, how many is it gonna take? Like, cause I'm like, cause he's watching me shoot and he's like, there's nothing wrong with your shot. Everything looks really good. Like I just feel like I don't know what your goals are this year, but I think it's attainable. So he started looking up the stats and he told me a number. I think it was like 64. No, it was 64. And I was like, that's a lot of threes in the season. But like, I'm gonna give it a go, you know what I'm saying? He was like, put this number over your bed. He said, write it big and put it over your bed every day. And you go in that gym and you make 200 makes every day. Like, don't leave until you make 200 makes on that gun every day. And I was like, all right. So I did. And I think, like I said, if you know, you know, Winston has no air in their gym. So what I did was, I would pull that gun out every day. And our strength and conditioning coach, I went to summer school. So because I was still pursuing the PT route, but physics is a hard class, so I decided to take it in the summer.
Woo!
Yeah,
Y'all, woo!
yeah,
You got it. You got
yeah.
it.
It wasn't fun. So I did physics one in school, like while I was in season. I was like, I'm gonna knock out physics two, and I think I took another class while I'm here over the summer, all that good stuff. So I'm like, all right, cool. The strength and conditioning coach is still there because football is about to be in season, so they're early. So I was on the track with the football players, lifting weights with the football players, and then I would leave, drive back to campus, and I would go do 200 mix every day. Like I was just not because I just did not want to have another year like the year I had before. Um, long story short, like I ended up hitting the record. That is still crazy to me. I think I want to say I hit, so I had the all time record, and I had like I still have the single season record. I want to say, it was like 83 threes or something like that. I don't remember. Yeah, I don't remember, but it's a blur. But I will say like, Um, yeah, that was a blessing to me because it was just a testament of like, just going through so many ups and downs in my career and then being able to finish on a high note. That was special to me. But I always told people I wasn't counting the whole season. I told my dad my number and my best friend at the time, Justin Fitz, and I told him the numbers, and I think they were in communication. I think I only knew because there was one game where they were at, all my friends were there, and I'm like, all of y'all are here? Like, what's going on? So, and I'm like, I'm seeing them holding stuff, and I'm like, what's that? So then I think it was a good game. It was John C. Smith. I had just a couple games before that, we played at Shaw. A lot of people don't know Shaw is my favorite place to play at because it's just I like the gym. I don't know why. I like the fans there. They if you hoop, they gonna rock with you. I like that. So I started off pretty good there. I'm like, shoot, I think I hit like three in the first quarter or something. Three threes in the first quarter. I'm like, okay, like I'm feeling it. So then like I'm like thinking, I don't know how far I am, but I'm like, maybe I'll do it this game. I went up for a layup, smoked the layup because I felt a pop in my foot, and I was like, what was that? I kept trying to run, felt like a rock was in my shoe. I said, no way I just did that. I'd never call out the game. If you know me, at Winston, if you look at my stats, I played the most minutes on the team by a lot, by like 10 minutes. I never came out. And I asked my coach, I said, hey, I need to come out. She was like, what's going on? I was like, yeah, I feel like I just broke my foot. Like, so thank God I didn't. I didn't. I sprained it. So I had to sit for 2 games. So I'm sitting here thinking like we're at the end, the tail end of conference. We're on the second half of conference. I don't know how long I gotta sit. I know that I don't have much time, but I'm like, I'm not trying to stress about the record. I'm trying to win games. It's not about my record. You know what I'm saying? So I get in, I finally get back. This is the game I come back at. So I think I hit like two threes or something. We playing John C. Smith. My best friend, like, he stands up and he holds up the number one. I'm like, what does that mean? He was like, yeah, one more. I'm like, so he's like, nah, like you have one more, you break it. So um came down, like they called a play call out of bounds play is like an elevator screen. So you run through, close it. I'm like, all right, I do this every day. Like, I'm like, boom, shoot it. I have a clip of it somewhere, hit it, and then everybody pulls up the signs, and I'm like, oh, I did it. Like, I didn't even realize. Like, so, that was a special moment. But yeah, that that was a good way to kind of end my career on a high note. I definitely wish that I could have did more, Winston, but to this day, health is always my Achilles heel. It's never, I would say, I think it's fair to say it's never really truly been my ability. It's just like staying healthy, man. Like if I could have stayed healthy. So yeah, I always joke and say if I had that fourth year at Winston, I probably would have went for 100 threes. And I'm not even joking. I think I would have went for it because I didn't think I was gonna get 64, and then I went like 20 over that. I think I would. My goal would have been like, all right, let's see if I get 100. So yeah, that's my journey on.
Girl.
Yeah.
We got to ask about Winston because, you know, because a lot of people overlook the HBCU's competition. I think HBCU competition deserves so much more credit,
Yeah.
especially when it comes to NCAA tournaments. Like they like to lower them into like say the first
Yeah.
four out or the 16. But from your experience, what would you say is the misconceptions of the CIAA competition?
Oof. I to me, especially when I was in the CIAA, especially like I'll say my first 2 to 3 years in the CIAA, I think it was definitely one of the top conferences in D2. And I would say that because we always had like four teams that made a bid at that time. I think now it's like one or two might get a bid from the CIAA, but I always joke and say like it was a juggernaut every night. Like I came in when Shaw had just won a national championship. Livingstone was ranked in the country. They went through something that year, but they were ranked in the country. Shawan was ranked in the country. And Virginia Union was on the rise too. I think, shoot, my sophomore year, the year I broke my leg, they had this player. Her name was Brianna something. I forgot her last name. She transferred in from Michigan State. I think she got in a little trouble over there. Man, she was killing. I think her, Lady Walker, and some other guards they had over there, they ended up going all the way to the national championship. They lost, but they went. You get what I'm saying? So um, every night, like I think we always finished like high to middle of the pack in CIAA, and like that was a big feat at the time because we had so many giants. Like So CIAA was very competitive. I still think it's very competitive. It's physical. It's fast on the men and women's side, especially the men though. Like they're high flying, they're sprinting. Like it takes. You can't just. I'll say this. I've seen kids that have Division 1 offers, but they want to come to Winston because couple things. And that was one thing that made me want to sign to Winston as well. The crowd is insane. You're not gonna have an environment like that. You can go to a lot of these Division 1s. Um, and the stands are empty. You can't even the fire marshal has to come at most games for Winston. Like it's gonna jump. You're gonna enjoy yourself. You're gonna play in an environment that you probably may not ever play in again. Like, and I think that's or some people never get to experience that kind of environment. And I think that's a special part. Like any gym you walk into, Fayetteville State, their environment is crazy. Shaw, St. Aug when there was St. Aug was insane. John C. Smith was lit. Let me see. Livingstone, goodness gracious. You know what I'm saying? Like
Oh yeah.
yeah, you
The
know what I'm
living
saying?
the Livingstone JCSU was tough. I was like, I didn't know how
Hmm.
rival they were. I was like, uh
Yeah, you have to have a certain mentality to play in the CIAA. You can't be soft. You can't be scared. You can't be out there choking. Like you got to go out there and play. I think it's more high stakes than most people make it. Um, this is not a pity pat league. If you can't take you can't take the pressure, you can't play. And I think that's one of the things like that I carried even in my post college playing career. Like there's not an environment that I get nervous in. Just because like I've seen some crazy stuff out there. So like they're gonna look you up, they're gonna go on your Instagram, they're gonna go. I can't say I've had individually too much of that, like, but like I've, I've seen some crazy stuff. So that's the Seattle Ballet special. And I think about even when the tournament was in Charlotte. Man, yeah. But I mean, before I got there, I think Chris Brown used to go to the games. You never know, like a celebrity might pop out to your games, and then there's so many people in the city like circled around like CIAA. So I don't think there's an experience like it, honestly. I feel like if you're gonna go Division 2, that's the league you want to be in for sure.
absolutely. And like Winston also won their first ever
They
CIAA championship
did.
for the women's. So
Yeah.
as a alum, as a alum, what was that like to see, your college win the CIAA, especially the first one in program history?
And it was emotional. I think because I had the privilege of being in the gym with the girls for a good chunk of the summer. And like I was telling you earlier, like the same work that I was putting in, like, I used to kind of be alone in doing that. Like seeing all the girls voluntarily come, like what? Like and we all like I felt like I was a kid again. Like I'm in here with y'all, like I'm getting better. Like and then to see like we talked about a video, like there was one day I got in the car and I was like, I really just feel like they're gonna go all the way. Like I really genuinely felt that like I'm watching them. Like and that's one thing about me. I feel like I can watch basketball and I can assess and see like, yeah, this is gonna be this is gonna be that. Like I've been around the sport long enough. I just genuinely felt that way. So to see them like go the length and do all the things they've done and aside from all that, like Jessica Freeman, we grew up watching her play.
I know Jessica. Shout out
Yeah.
to Jessica.
Shout out to Jessica. So watching her, that was full arc for me because I used to be in the stands watching her play when I was a kid. You know what I'm saying? So
Especially at UNCW.
at UNCW. Yep. So seeing her like come through and like she's the mastermind behind their defense. Like Coach Terry credits her with that a lot. Like I could see that. Like, or like just Coach Terry in general. Again, like I said, that was the coach that came and bet on me and believed in me from the jump. And I always said Coach Terry, like, and not biased, but I feel like she has a good eye for talent. People that may not have an opportunity, but like they need an opportunity, she finds them. Like people who should have a Division 1 offer, but they don't have it. Like she always finds them. So to see her journey, because again, I was under her as an assistant when she was an assistant coach. Like to see her journey come full circle, her come home and bring the first one, like bro, that's that's insane. Like that's something that people dream of in their career. Like and to see the whole school rally behind them, like it was, even Coach Dill, like he was a part of the ring when Winston won a ring, I think in 2020, well, I think under Rob Cologne and all of them. Like, so for him to win a ring in both um organizations, to me, that's both programs. Like, that's history. So much history, so many dope storylines that I think deserve to be told. So um I definitely drove up there to see them do it in person because I knew, like, I just really genuinely believe that. And yeah, that was emotional. When the final buzzer sound, I definitely like cried, all that good stuff. It was good to be able to hug the girls at the end, like get to hang out with them a little bit. So, um, and it was good to know like each girl my name on the team. You know what I'm saying? Like, just to see like history up front, up close like that. Like, that's a blessing. So I'm super proud of the girls. Still rooting for them. But yeah, that was special. That was super special. It's still very special to me. That was a cool journey. So
It was super like fire to see it just because it's like, I didn't realize. I learned like, oh, so Winston and Fayetteville State now got a little rivalry because it's
yeah, it's
like
the only
those,
team.
like, those two have an amazing women's program. Particularly like Fayetteville State has like been known to have a good women's program.
Mhm.
So, but to see like, it was funny how like Fayetteville State, we want Winston. Well, I was like, oh, y'all really want
Y'all
Winston?
want
Like,
Winston. Yeah, y'all don't want Winston, man. And I think that was, it was cool because Fable State has always been one of our rivals. Fable State and Livingstone, I'll say, were always like our biggest rivals. On my way out, Fayetteville State was kind of like has been on a run since. But like I said, like we always dreamed of, oh, let's go all the way. Like, we just never quite made it. We always had the pieces, but it was always hard to put it together. But to see them do it, like, you genuinely very happy about that. So yeah.
I know that's right. And this leads to my question, after college, you play the professional league and the professional just professional aspect. And then
Yeah,
now you're part of, say, the Raleigh Aces. So shout out
yeah,
to L'Oreal and Julian for the Raleigh Aces. Hello. So
100%, 100%.
um for you, what does it mean to be able to be part of the Raleigh Aces and showcase your talent?
It's fun. I think like now we're living in the big boom of like women's sports, specifically like women's basketball. So there's other avenues like Upshot, what else? Overseas is now, because of Upshot, overseas is opening up more. Um, but to play in the WABA with the Raleigh Aces has been cool. It's been a dope learning experience. It gave us a space. Girls had like, because it was a point in time when we were playing these rec leagues, and like we kind of would, we wanted a little bit more. And I think being able to like put a team together like that, that's as talented as our roster, and we make it work. And our first year we won a championship. Like, it's crazy. And you learn like what it means to really work with other greats. Like, you learn what it means to, you know everybody has to accept the role, and it could be anybody's night. Like, anybody's night, anybody's liable to go for 30 or 40. Like, it can really happen. But the hard part, people think playing on a stacked team like that is easy. I think it's harder because you never know. Like, today you could have 10 points, the next day you could have 40. So I think being able to collaborate and communicate and work through and like kind of see your role make shift and somebody else, role shape shift. I think that is the beauty of it all. I think that's the fun part about basketball too, because we see stacked teams in the NBA lose all the time. Just because you stack doesn't mean you can win. Everybody has to accept a role. I think it's easier to play on a team where everybody knows their roles versus everybody is good, if I'm being honest. So, um, I think that that's what makes us special, and I really do value that. And again, I always commend L'Oreal and Jewel for putting together something like this. It's not easy to run a business, and for them to be doing it the first time, and of course, there's bumps in the road and things we got to figure out, and then suggestions being made, and whatever the case may be. But they handle it all well with grace, and they do really well. So, I'm always gonna be appreciative. It influences me. Like, maybe one day I'll do the same thing. Who knows? And I think that's the cool part about it. What they're building is special. What they're building in Raleigh is special. Like, because not only do they have the Aces, they have a league. Like, that we also play in too. So, because now you're manufacturing a place for everybody to play. Not even just, top talent. Okay, you have your top talent, but you have like, it gives you more of a talent pool. So they're able to pull from that and all that good stuff. And it's, to me, it's genius. I think it's good. I think it's something that we need over in this area as well. Like in the 336. That was a conversation we had. I think earlier today. Like, the 919, like, if you know the history in Raleigh, like Millbrook
Mhm.
came through and did their big one. So like, Hillside, you had Southeast Raleigh, like you had all these, big powerhouses. They're in Raleigh. Charlotte is Charlotte, obviously. Like, what about these in between spaces? Like, how can we make it grow out here? So it definitely influences me to look at that as well. So I think playing for the Aces is fun. Hopefully we go for another ring this year for sure. 2 for 3 is cool. So I enjoy it. Yeah, I enjoy it.
Like 2 for 3. I'll take 2 out of the rings for
Yeah,
3 years.
I'll take
That's
it.
like 2 rings in 3 years. Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
I'll take it.
So, and because I feel like there's, when it comes to like the pro am leagues, it's like you see all the men having a pro am league like
Hmm.
every other week. Like one pro
Hmm.
am league for them is done, they already got a next one like the next week. And
Yeah.
I feel like there should be more opportunities when it comes to women, when it comes to say pro am league. Like, first of all, shout out to the league and see like they got for
Yeah.
women's, and then you have the Queen City Pro Am. But like, I feel like if Winston really had a 3-on-3 league, like
Mhm.
that would be fire. I love 3-on-3 because
Yeah.
it's like it's a whole different ball game versus like a 5-on-5. 3-on-3, like you already know who you're gonna be partnered with, and like you already know who you're gonna guard. And also,
Hmm.
it's a whole different ball game because you got to be in like say not only basketball shape but conditioning shape because you're gonna be like
Yeah.
going.
It's more the basketball shape for sure. For sure. I agree. I've heard those are in conversations. I've had conversations with people about that. I think it's coming. I think it's smart because in this area, specifically like Winston Greensboro, High Point, it's hard to maintain a women's league. I know Drew Effect held it down for a while. The league NC, we had one solid season of where we had like all these teams. And then we had one solid season. We didn't do it again after that. I think I played like 2 years with Drew Effect, I believe. And then that ended up slowing down because, it's hard to get girls to keep coming out. But I think if threes were a thing, I do think that participation would be higher. But this area needs basketball for sure. I need something year round. It needs something for girls to come play. Cause like, I mean, the triad, like I think it's big enough. I think Greensboro, High Point, and Winston is big enough. Raleigh is, I mean, huge itself. Charlotte is huge. I think if we combine those three cities and try to do something about it, I feel like we can get 30 girls at least. So I agree. I think threes would be is a great model, and I know people are having conversations about it. I just hope that it comes to fruition for sure.
Especially like with the population of like say Unrivaled already
Hmm.
making like the threes, and there's more eyes on them. Like honestly, low key,
Hmm.
I actually enjoy the 3-on-3s versus say the WNBA right now
Oh,
with all the
okay.
like at least
Yeah, all the
like
stuff.
3-on-3. Let me tell you something, and I know some people like gonna like what 3-on-3s. There ain't no crazy fans. In the
Nah.
WNBA, you got some crazy fan
It's
bases.
politicized right now. Yeah, I was just talking about that. It's a lot of stuff going on, and I think administration needs to get a handle on it before it really. But I don't have faith in this administration, and that's what I want to say about that.
Or
But
I don't either. So we on the same boat. We on the
Unrivaled,
same.
yeah, yeah, yeah. Unrivaled is experience though. I went their first year. I think it was in not 25, 24. No, 25, like January. And I ended up getting like I accidentally bought like VIP seats. I didn't know they were VIP seats because at the time everything was resale, so everything was really the same price. So I ended up just buying it because I thought, oh, this is a good seat. So I went there and they were like, oh yeah, you come sit down on the baseline. They had like free drinks, free food. Like it was so good. The service was amazing. The experience, the ambiance was lit. It's dope because you have so many of the girls, like so many all stars in one place that you can see in one night. Like at least if they're not playing, they're walking around. They're taking pictures. They're saying hello. They're being polite. It's really cool. So it was an experience. Unrivaled is yeah. Like I'm curious to see where their big arena game is this year because I'm definitely gonna go for sure.
If they hosted one in Charlotte, that'd be fire. I'd be like, ooh, or in Greensboro, I'd be
Yeah.
like, ooh. But I just think what's so amazing about Unrivaled is it was founded by Nafisi Collier and Brianna
Mhm.
Stewart. and
Yeah.
also they get paid more. They get
Yeah.
paid more, and then also like a lot of these female players are mothers. So like they have
Hmm.
say the healthcare services support and like a child care support because a lot of it is not covered in say their contracts in the WNBA. So
Yeah.
it's like I'm like I'm here for it. So
They get to
I'm
play in
here for it.
Miami. Yeah, they get to play in Miami. They get to chill. They get free housing. They get to play for what? How much is the one v one tournament for? Is like another. Is that another 250 or something like that?
Oh, it's like over 50,000.
Oh, 50,000.
25,
Okay, that's a
25
lot
to 50. Hey, shoot, more money
yeah,
in my pocket.
for
It
two
is.
months. Yeah, I think they only play like 2 or 3 months, something like that. That's nice. I'm with that.
Oh, I think, yeah, so I'm gonna need Winston to get on board. We need a 3-on-3 league because I
Get to
really
win
would
three.
love to have a like
Yeah,
that would be awesome.
it
Cause
would be.
I mean, cause like you said, it's really hard to get girls to be committed. To be honest, cause some are mothers now, so it's like it's
Yeah,
so hard. But then also some are like, I don't know, like, is there really gonna happen? I'm like, just try to go
yeah.
out, like.
The good thing about it too is that Greensboro, Winston is in between Charlotte and Raleigh. So if it jumps off and some of the players from out there want to come and it looks good, it's presentable, it's marketable, they'll come. It'll happen. Like nobody minds driving up the road to go play hoop. If it's good bump, they're gonna come. If it's good marketing, they're gonna come. So I think it's just a matter of doing it. Like all you need is what? How many teams? 16s? That's what, 18, 20. If you have subs, 16s, maybe 30 girls, 25 girls we could start with. I think it could work. Yeah.
I'm here for it. So this
Yeah.
leads to my question. Particularly when it comes to representation, having someone that looks up to you, you look up to someone, as a black woman and an athlete, how important is
Mhm.
representation?
It's so important to see yourself and stuff. I don't think people understand how a visual is so important. I think about the girls today. Again, they're so blessed because they're in an era where you can turn on the TV and see Angel, and she got her lashes, she got her makeup done. There's a girl for every type of girl in the league. Like you got Enrique, she got her swag, she got she's cool. You got all these different players in the league that you can see. Any type of girl can turn on the TV and see somebody that looks like them, right? And that goes for orientation, that goes for race, that goes for everything. I think that's important. Um, I think about representation in any setting is important. And I think that's part of why I chose the profession I'm in as well. People, you want kids to see you like and think like, dang, like if she can do it, I can do it too. So I think seeing people in front of you do stuff is it's allowing people to model in front of you is really important. Because then it shows, okay, like well, let me learn more about her journey. Let me learn more about her and what she stands for. And let me see how my journey aligns with hers. And I think that's super important. So yeah, representation is really important. 100%.
Absolutely. And I noticed you're very big on your faith, especially like on your bio and also like on your captions, because hey, I'm here
Yeah.
for it.
Yeah.
So, how do you balance your faith and basketball simultaneously?
Um, Everything you're concerned about, man, I just believe in taking it in prayer for sure. I think God has carried me through a lot. Like I talk about my journey, like there's a lot of ups and downs, stuff that we've even talked about in terms of like, my journey at Winston, my journey like post Winston, my journey like before Winston, like just allowing God to give you that peace and discernment and decision making and coverage because who knows all the things that I avoided. So that's always been a staple for me. That's always my foundation. Because when you're in sports, like anxiety creeps in, like you're worried about things, you're juggling a lot. There are things that you got to work, that you have to carry, and taking that to prayer, taking that to the altar, all that good stuff is super important to me. So it's always been my foundation. So yeah, that's always going to be and always has been a part of my life.
I know that's right. Like,
Yeah.
when you say take it to the altar, I was like, ooh, that's when you know it's real, real. So
Yeah, yeah, you gotta show up. You gotta be there for sure.
this leads to my question. I always say that athletes are humans first, and as an athlete, And a Black woman, how important is mental health to you?
Super important. I would say that's something that's always been a staple. Because I think about we talked about my junior year, like coming off an injury. Um, at that time too, trying to figure out like my career, trying to figure out like a lot of different things in life at one time. That was a hard year, and it showed up in like my play that year. And I think about like um, there definitely should be more avenues and conversations around it in sports the right way. I think people are always worried about athletes making excuses or cutting corners, and sometimes you really are going through it. And sometimes, like, it's really about providing the resources for an outlet or like teaching people how to calm their nervous system down, how to deal with anxiety, how to ground those type of emotions, those big emotions. It's important. I feel like emotional intelligence, especially, and I can say for the Black community, like I think it's important that we start like implementing that in our children and having conversations because we always talk about like calm down or whatever the case may be, but you never told anybody how to properly calm down or what that really means or um how to verbalize what they're feeling. Like those are real things, you know what I'm saying? And I think the more we learn how to do those things, the better off we're gonna be. I can say the older I've gotten in life, like even when I coach and like, you see a kid like getting frazzled or whatever case or training or whatever, and emotional, it's like, so let's talk about, what you're thinking and like verbalize it. Let's walk through it. Let's talk about what's let's talk about what's the next steps on how to deal with that. Cause again, like there's not enough conversations about how to actually deal with those big emotions. So mental health is important, man. I think in any sport, anything in life, 70% of the battle is your mental. So, of course, physical plays a role, 100%. But if your mind isn't there, it's not gonna go. That's the engine. So, for sure.
Because I feel like when it comes to injury, and I believe injury really does take a toll on your mental, because you really
Hmm.
like wondering like, am I gonna play the same way as I was before, or is it gonna be different? Because I know like
Hmm.
say a leg injury or ACL injuries, like you're gonna have to change the way say you run and walk way
Hmm.
before. So, and then
Yeah.
also when it comes to anxiety, particular performance anxiety, that does not get talked about enough because it's
No,
like
I don't.
you could have a great game, the best game in your life, but for some reason the next game is like, where did it go? And now like,
Hmm.
and also how like working around say a certain system that you're not used to, and that can cause
Hmm.
like anxiety. So I
Yeah.
think I think all those things, relates to mental health. And I think, if athletes continue to, talk about mental health, especially like a lot of people try to sweep it under the rug. I'm like, no, this is not going to be swept under the rug. This is real life.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah. Yes, it is. I think definitely has to be a conversation about, like you said, performance anxiety. Like you have players that are, great in practice and then get in the game is a whole different story. And again, I think that again, it comes down to calming your nervous system, never getting too high, never getting too low, and really knowing what that actually means. Because yeah, you're not gonna go for 40 every night, but it's about doing the best you can. Like at the end of the day, I feel like for me personally, I always walk away with I don't care if I have 40, I don't care if I have 8. Did I play the hardest I could play? Did I do everything I could in this situation? Did I do what I know I'm capable of doing? And I think I can walk away with it no matter what the stat line is, no matter if we win or lost. Because I think we all have this habit of like attaching our identities to like whether we win or lose, whether we perform. Especially I could say at a younger age, like that's something I had to grow out of as I got older. But like you said, like injuries at that age, like all I knew was basketball. Like you know what I'm saying? Like I think part of that injury, maybe God wanted me to see there's more to life than just basketball. Like so, like stuff like that. And then you being in college, and then we can talk about transitioning out of being a college athlete to just being a regular adult,
mhm.
right? If you decide not to be, a professional athlete, what does that look like? Who am I outside of this? So I think it gets rough when we start attaching like our identity to the sport. But I think if we realize like your motor to wanting to win or be great does not have to be related to, you know, doesn't have to be related to like me being a good person if I play well or not. I think those type of things, uh, once you kind of release yourself from that kind of mindset and you start objectively looking at things and calming down and realizing like People so around me still love me if I win or lose. Nobody looks at me different. If they do, then they don't need to be around me. Things like that. Um, I think once you start doing that, you'll notice that you're playing better. I noticed I started playing better. I was more consistent after that, like, cause it's not the weight of the world on my shoulders. I'm just out here playing basketball, you know, cause that's what it is, a game. So, um, 10 years ago, I wouldn't be saying that. So.
This leads to my question. I feel like you are part of, say, two different hoop legacies, which is the 910 and the 336, as you came from the 910, but also have been a major, huge part of the 336. But for you, what does it mean to be part of, say, the 910 and the 336 hoop legacy?
Poof. I think it's special. These are the things you work for. And I think like I was so blessed to be around so many greats. Like you gotta think like, went to the same school as Michael Jordan. Like crazy. Never met the man, but it's like, that's legacy. Every time you walk through the floor, you see a jump man in the middle of the floor. Or like the same school as Tamara Young. And I got to play basketball with her last weekend. Like that's crazy in Atlanta, like the ABL. Like to see that was very full circle for me because in 2012, she used to be at my games. You know what I'm saying? Like she probably don't even remember, but it's like she was there. Like, and it's the fact that she was there. And sitting right next to her was Quita Wallace. And if you know Q, like
Mm-hmm.
that's a dog. Like a lot of people
Yes.
don't know, like she played under Dawn Staley at Temple. Like she's that. You know what I'm saying? And if it wasn't for her, like she used to train me for free. Like a lot of people, and that's why today, like I don't really charge people when I train. Like if I see a girl that has potential, like I lock in. And I think being able to pay it forward, Trey with it, Brett Blizzard, all of them, they had a hand in helping me. Like, and I remember when Brett had the gym. You remember when Brett had the gym? He had the city on lock. And Trey was there. Shoot,
Quita was there too.
Quita was there too. Like that's where we used to train. And like, you know what I'm saying? Like I remember asking them, like, I'll sweep floors, I'll run camps, whatever, whatever. Like I can't pay off for every training session, but I'm definitely willing to come in and, do whatever it takes to get some bump in here, like to learn from y'all. Like these are greats. Like if you know Brett Blizzard is the greatest shooter to ever come through at UNCW.
UNCW. Yep.
That's who taught me my footwork. You know what I'm saying? Like, cause I always had the J, but he taught me my feet, which is a part of your jumper. And you still see that in my game today. I still teach that same stuff to kids that I train today. The thing about Quita just taught me how to be shifty, how to handle the rock, how to be, a good women's basketball player. Like she used to whoop me in one-on-ones until one day I got her. But like it took so long, like, but she just taught me so much, like how to just be, aggressive and, um Trey the same. Trey Witt is the same, and he's always had my back through a lot too. I think about at that time, Cynthia Cooper was there at UNCW coaching. Like my mom was working in the athletics department. She let me do my book report on her. Like I don't even think I realized how big of a deal like that was at that age. And the lesson she gave me, I still carry to this day. Cynthia Cooper, which is like the equivalent of our Michael Jordan, if you ask me, in the WNBA. So I just been around like so many greats, and I think it's allowed me to pour into like my career here in the 336 and pour into a lot of the youth out here. That's super important to me. Like I talk about like, being in the gym with the Winston girls and all that good stuff over last summer. Like to me, that's just me paying forward everything that, Winston has done for me and what somebody else did for me when I needed help, when I needed guidance. So to me, it's no point in having a legacy if you're not gonna pay it forward. And it means the world. I think it's a blessing to have that kind of influence, and I just try to be as careful with that as possible. Like I feel like it's my responsibility to do the right thing with that. So, and that's super important to me, and I hold that very near and dear. So that's what that means to me, 100%.
So this is my little fun question for you.
Yeah,
So, North Carolina is the hoop state. Let's get that out the way because it is.
100%. Clock it.
So my question for you is who would be in your North Carolina Mount Rushmore? Basically, people that were either born or raised in North Carolina. Who's in your Mount Rushmore in North Carolina? You could do both men and female too.
Oh man. Okay, of course Michael Jordan. I'm gonna put Tamara Young up there. I feel like you have to put John Wall up there.
Mm.
Mount Rushmore is 3 or 4, right? Four or five.
Mount Rushmore's four heads. Pause, but four heads. Four faces.
Dang. I'm weak. Who my fourth?
If you want to do an honorable mention, you could put add a fifth face for it, but like so.
Who my Ivy Ladd not from North Carolina. She just played here at college, right?
Yeah, she's from South Carolina, but she played in UNC. But she's very
That'll
shifty.
that'll count. That'll count. That'll count. That'll count. Who am I missing? I'm going blank
You,
because you know people ask you a question and you can't even.
I
Who am
would
I missing?
say you have. I mean, there's so many. I mean, you mentioned John Wall, Michael Jordan, Tamara Young. I mean, you got say like Chris Paul, Josh Howard. For the men's, you got even Harry Giles. Shout out to Harry. You got for the females, you got like say um Maya Caldwell from Charlotte, who's in the WNBA. You got Tamara Young. You got say Sanaya Rivers,
That's
and
my dog. Shout out Sanaya, man, holding it down for Wilmy Wood. You feel me?
yeah, and then you
She doing
got.
her
I
thing.
mean, I mean in
I got a
Winston
story about her. She's. I'm gonna put Chris Paul as my fourth though. That's easy. Chris Paul.
for sure. And I mean, I was gonna say you also got for women's too. You got Whitney Knight. You got say CC
Whitney.
Byram.
I got to play with Whitney. I got to play with CC. Yeah. So
So
yeah,
it's
for
like
sure. Yeah. I like my four. I'm gonna go. What is it? Michael Jordan, Tamara Young, Chris
John Wall.
Paul, John Wall. I like that. I like that. There's somebody. There's people we're forgetting though. There's people we're forgetting.
There's so
But yeah.
many.
Shout
It's
out
just
to Nia
so.
Rivers though. I remember coming home from college. They called me like, "Hey, you need to come see this girl." I'm like, "What you talking about, man?" And not too much come out of Wilmington too often. So I'm like, "No, she really that. She really that." They got
Mhm.
I think this was like her. This is before she went to high school, or it's her freshman year. So she didn't have like she had looks, but they weren't like, "Oh, Dawn Staley came to Laney" type thing like yet.
Yeah.
And they called me back and they were like, "Yeah, just come hoop with the girls. This is the AAU team you usually work with." I'm like, "All right, cool." I go down there, we hooping whatever. I bring up the ball, like I'm being lazy. She's guarding me. I'm being lazy because I'm like, you this kid, you know what I'm saying? Whatever. She poked it, went down for a layup. I said, "Ooh." I didn't realize how long her arms were, and I was like, "Oh no, she really could play." So we really went at it for the rest of the session. I was like, she tough. Like so to see her trajectory now, like to see her get drafted a couple years ago, I was like, dang, like life is good, man. Life is
I,
good. So shout out to Nia Rivers.
I think it's so interesting how both Tamara Young and Sanaya Rivers were drafted and they were number 8 in their respective draft.
You know, I didn't even know that. Yeah, that's crazy. That's
It's like,
crazy.
and it's like they're both from Wilmington. They both got drafted in the first round, respectfully number 8. So it's like,
Hmm.
and then Sanaya got her a ring with South Carolina her freshman year. So,
She
and then,
did. She
and I
did.
think she also changed. I think she also changed the trajectory and the culture for NC State. Like she really kind of really put NC State on the map to where, like, this is where I want to go now. So it's like,
A lot of people thought that was going to be her first choice because I mean you can't turn down Dawn Staley in South Carolina, like you know. But I believe her sister went to North Carolina State as well. Yeah,
Nana
so
Rivers. Yeah,
yeah,
she.
we kind of knew like yeah, she probably gonna go to she probably gonna go to NC State. When it comes to Tamara, like you know, I ain't gonna say that when it comes to UNCW, but at the time there was a time where UNCW didn't really recruit girls from Wilmington, and I believe
Mhm.
I know they did that to me. There was a situation where I had a really good tournament down in like Augusta, one of those big high circuit tournaments. And like UNCW would not give me a look, right? And I remember after the game, you know, the coaches talked to the AAU coaches and they were like, oh, who's that number 3 y'all got? We really like her. We're really interested. And they were like, you know, she goes to Laney, right? And they were like, no way. I was like, no, she goes to Laney. They still didn't call me. But I heard they did the same thing to Tamara. And then at the end, when Tamara got a look, I think she ended up getting a look from like Chapel Hill or something like that. And she
Mhm.
ended up choosing James Madison. So every time, I think if you look at her stats, every time she came to UNCW, she used to kill them. Like just because they
I
wouldn't
don't.
give her a look. Yeah.
I don't
So
doubt it because like she's another person that really changed JMU. Like JMU has a huge good history
mhm.
when it comes to women's basketball, but she
Yeah,
changed the whole history culture of
yeah.
JMU. But I would be some type of way if say the college that I live in, say
Mhm.
the town, they didn't look at me. I didn't know that. I didn't realize. I didn't even know that's what they do. Like they don't even recruit.
Yeah.
Like even though there's some colleges they will recruit like players from say like Winston
Yeah.
got so many players, but Wake Forest will recruit players from Winston. Like, let's go.
They will.
Like,
They will. They do. They do. They just signed. They just signed. They signed Gina. I forgot her last name. Gina last a couple weeks ago. She's a stretch for kind of a five from Winston as well. So Wake Forest is known for doing that. I think. I don't know. I don't think UNCW does that anymore. But there was a point in time where like they were not. They just would not give the girls in Wilmington a look. And if you think about it, like we had some really good girls at that time. It was V coming up. It was Felicity Havens. It was
mhm.
it was Julia Bueller. I
Oh,
think
I remember
Felicity.
Julia was at
Mhm.
UNC. So Julia was a walk on at UNCW. That was one of the
Mhm.
players that I was a manager for.
Yeah, yeah, and then but she came from App State, who actually gave her a scholarship, I believe. I believe they gave her a like one for soccer and basketball, if I'm not mistaken. Julia was always cool though. That was my dog. Felicity, yeah, that's I knew when I believe they gave her like an open visit. I'm not sure. I don't remember. But I feel like that was a pickup they should have had as well, easily. But I don't think she would have stayed in USW anyway, and in Wilmington anyway. But you know, that's some Wilmington lore that, some of us had to go through.
All I know is if you know, you know. Like once you leave
Yeah.
Wilmington, it's like you don't really want to go back at all.
Nah.
You
You gotta
don't
yeah,
like
you gotta see a little bit more. Shout out to Wilmington, but yeah, no, you gotta get out of there. For
it's
sure.
like it's like that close. Like it's like I'm trying to get out of here. Like they don't really
Mhm.
like. I'm just like, I'm
Yeah.
good. Like
It's
so,
cool.
but like I try not to. Like my thing is like when I left Wilmington, I was like, I'm not going back. you,
That's
you
that's
might
most
try to
people's
catch,
mindset.
but
Mm-hmm.
and it's staying in that mindset. It's gonna be staying. Like
Yeah.
I love the hoop culture here, and I'm gonna stay
Yeah.
here.
Yeah.
So, but
For sure.
this leads to my question. If there was a word or phrase to describe your journey so far, what would it be?
Hmm. Hmm. That's a good question. Something along the lines of like resilience and persistence. Um, I could give you a Bible verse, maybe Second Timothy 1:7. For God has not given you the spirit of fear, but a love, power, and a sound mind. I think that's always been like my journey. Or trust in Him with all your heart and lean not on your own understanding. Because there's definitely been some stuff where I'm like, I don't understand this, but I'm gonna keep walking. And I think just resilience, persistence, it's giving me a lot of wisdom about life. So I'm thankful for it. I think when you're in the middle of all of it, you're like, goodness gracious, like there's no way, like, but like I think now I can appreciate it. I don't always appreciate it in the middle of it. I'm learning to, but certain things where I'm like, all right, like, I there's something because for me, like I think teaching is what I appreciate now. Like, I love the game still. I still like to compete, all of that. But teaching it has given me, it feels a little bit more rewarding lately than like just winning or scoring all point, whatever, like accolades, all that. I think teaching is like super important to me. So I think I'm thankful for the ride it took to get here. I didn't always understand. Things don't always add up. When I talk to people and tell them like my complete story of everything that's happened, they're like, this is crazy. Or they'll joke and say, yeah, you were definitely meant to be a doctor because the things that happened during your basketball career, like, you know what I'm saying? Like you were always so good, but things just never really quite went your way. It's stuff like that where it's like, but now I've learned to appreciate and value that and understand that, like, again, it goes back into like just paying everything forward. That's what's important to me now. And I think like again with the profession I'm in too, like being able to help people in more than one way is another way that's like, and it all kind of ties in together. I think it was all meant to happen the way it did. So um I think that could be another thing. Everything is as it should be. Like it may not feel like that in the moment. It may not, make sense, but that's okay. I've learned to be like, to deal with things like that. So not even deal with things. I think that is the right way to look at things. So everything is as it should be, I would say.
So let me go ahead and get my little shakers because I felt that. Come on with it. I don't have my big tambourine, but these are my little mini tambourines. But
Yeah.
I will say, sometimes you ain't well, actually you ain't supposed to know what God is thinking. I mean, even
Yeah.
God
I'm
said
not.
like, for His ways and His thoughts are higher than like we ain't supposed to know what
Mhm.
He's doing. We ain't supposed to understand. So it's like, well, all
Mhm.
right then. Like,
Yeah.
all right,
Yeah.
God, got me. I got you. So,
Yeah,
but
you have to. You have to. Or life will drive you crazy if you try to again lean on your own understanding. It ain't gonna make sense, especially when you're in it. Like, so just chill, go for the ride. You'll be okay. And I think that's the big thing. It's always gonna be okay. So yeah.
outside of your sport, what do you want to be remembered for your legacy?
Hmm. I don't know whose quote it was. Was it Maya Angelou? Don't give me the line. It's the quote where it says people don't remember like what you did, they remember how you made them feel. I think that's important to me. I hope that in this lifetime I've made you laugh. I hope in this lifetime I've helped you in some kind of way. I've been able to bless you in some kind of way. And that's always important to me. Like I just talked about like teaching. Like I love teaching. I love obviously talking. So like just being able to like I want people to remember like I want to be able to touch some everybody's life in a positive way or have been there for a way or heard or seen people in a way they've never felt seen before. I think that's like super important to me. I know what it's like to like people say generic stuff to you or like you're going through something or whatever the case may be and people not giving you no help. But I know what it's like for people to kind of stand in that space and like really like see you for who you are and hear what you have to say. And I want to be that for people. So that's super important to me. Like building genuine connections. Like I don't want people to ever like look at me in my life and kind of be like it was a fly by connection or it didn't really mean anything or Tiana wasn't really present. And we all are guilty of it at some point. But I think slowing down and like help being like I think that's the purpose of life, like to like really feed into the people around you and like be a light to people. So that's what I want to be remembered as. Like there was a genuine connection, she helped me in some kind of way, or heck we just laughed, you know what I'm saying, like stuff like that. So that's super important to me.
Girl, I know that's right.
Yeah.
And I always
Yeah.
ask my guests this question, which bonafide means authentic and unique. So,
Hmm.
what makes Miss Tiana Edwards
Oh,
bonafide and what makes your story stands out?
I'm gonna say resilience. I'm gonna say I'm not afraid to feel the big emotions and care about the big things. I don't shy away from anything. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like for the most part. I think I always joke and say I'm willing to stand in the pain about a lot. Like and I think that's I care about a lot. Whether it be political issues, whether it be somebody going through something or whatever case may be, I feel everything very deeply. And I think sometimes that could be, that's hard. And sometimes but I think it's a superpower too. So I think that's what makes me unique. I'm not afraid to feel. I'm not afraid to stand up. I'm not afraid of, a little friendly confrontation here and there. Like, you know what I'm saying? I'm gonna stand in the paint. So I think that's what makes me special. Like, yeah. And then like I said, the resilience piece, like not too much is gonna stop me. It might stop me for a little second, but I'm gonna get back up again. So I think that's what makes me unique.
I know that's right. Miss Tiana Q, actually, Dr. Tiana Edwards, can you let the folks know how or where they can support you, find you, if there's any upcoming games happening your way?
You can find me on Instagram at Tiana Edwards underscore. I don't really I use TikTok here and there. I think it's like T Glock 37 is my handle or something. But our games, you can follow Raleigh Aces. That's where you can find our schedule. We are in the end of conference and regional play going into the playoffs. So come check us out while there's some games left. But if you want to see me on my day to day and see what I have going on, follow my Instagram. That's what I would say. So yeah, definitely that.
Y'all be sure to follow the queen herself, Dr. Tiana Edwards. Yeah, I'm gonna say doctor because put some respect on her name. So be
Thank you. I
sure to
appreciate
follow. Be sure to follow the queen herself, Dr. Tiana Edwards. on Instagram, and be sure to follow the Raleigh Aces, where you can see her in action and hooping a
Yeah.
40 ball, a 30 ball, a triple double, a double double. You never know, but and let's see, 2 rings in 3 years. In 3 years, 2 rings. Boom,
That's the
boom.
goal. That's the
So
goal.
be sure to follow the queen herself, and be sure to check out the live replay of Bonafide, her podcast, episode 264, featuring the one and only Tiana Edwards after this. Thank you guys for tuning in. Peace.
Thanks for having